Oh look, it's Kiriko. Kiriko is everybody's favourite character, I hear. They absolutely love her ability to get in and out and deliver big damage and then also denying big damage with ease too. And everybody especially loves her big closet. So many outfits to wear, and rightly so, she deserves them. Yes sirree. Or not. For a while, Kiriko's kit, mostly Suzu honestly, was a major problem topic. Kinda like when BAP first came out and people were upset at how LAMP worked, which they have solved after a few nice changes. Now no one really cares anymore about that. But the Kiriko thing kinda just stopped being talked about, at least to an excessive degree. It's now kind of gone under the radar a little. Genuinely surprising, honestly, because if there's one thing Overwatch, or really any video game player, likes to do, it's complaining. Including me. For example, I hate this thing, I want this little rodent fuck killed. This isn't like the Sombra problem I previously talked about in another video, because that was to do with the literal fact she's getting banned so much. And, to see what adjustments we could make to maybe lessen her being permanently banned. But that isn't happening with Kiriko. Instead it's more, why does she, or more specifically Suzu, get to do all that, while also being pretty easy to use too? It's kind of funny that people keep complaining about her bountiful wardrobe greed, because it also kind of applies to her kit too. And as someone who considers her probably my third choice support behind BAP and my number one girl Anna, Kiri's plate is so full, it's dripping, there's so much protein here, no light touches her plate's surface. She can deliver huge damage, which thankfully has been peeled back, reducing the crits multiplier to ×2, as for some bizarre reason it was ×3. I still can't believe it was that high. 3? Really? There's also her Swift Step, which is sort of like her own personal mini Suzu, as it shares a lot of the same effects and is also on half the cooldown too. And then, of course, there's also everybody's favourite, Suzu. More effects than the Space Smurf movies. I'd describe it as half a skill shot, requiring some level of timing at least. But it's also an area of effect, so it's pretty easy to use, and one that denies almost every ult and ability in the game. Sorry Alari, I'm a gamer, I don't like the sun. Kiriko has good healing numbers, high damage, a teleport and a wall climb for mobility, an incredibly strong damage denial ability, and an ult that speeds up movement, cooldowns and reloading. She is a jack of all trades and a master of all trades. And yet, I'd still say the only actual troublesome part of her kit is probably Suzu now. Yes, Swift Step could have a slightly longer cooldown, or we could shorten its distance maybe, but it's not nearly as much of a problem now her headshot damage isn't completely in space. Plus, I'd also say it gives her a unique aggressive style for a support, if you want to play that way. And there's at least some trade-off if she's flanking, as she's obviously no longer healing her team. So with all that in mind... Surprise! This video is basically just about Suzu, because the sheer amount of stuff it does is absurd. Does it need to be invulnerable, be almost instant, a cleanse, give a burst of 80 or 110 health, and be an area of effect too? And then, on top of that, with the perks, it gives a movement speed increase and faster cooldowns. I mean, why not? Why not give the ability that has everything 2 more things that let her use it again even quicker? You build up your ult, take all that time, Nice, and all that for an ability to deny it completely. Yes, I know, Sleep Dart and Lamp can also deny abilities too, ooh. But Sleep is a full-on skill shot on the most immobile hero in the game. Still doesn't stop Genji players from moaning, the only kind of moaning they'll ever hear anyway. So I think its power is fair. While Lamp can be destroyed, you can still take damage through it, and it has line of sight to be effective. You know, there's clear solutions and options with it. Suzu, however, denies almost every single ult and stacks so many effects all at once, while being easy to land on an extremely mobile hero. So, I think there are two possible changes we could make. Number one, entirely remove the invulnerability. Maybe you could add the speed boost from the perk to its base to make up for it, although it is still packed with effects. I mean, cleanse on its own is still great. And removing that aspect means less ults are completely denied, while being able to still deny those that fall into the cleanse effect. And if you add the movement speed to its base, you know, ults that can be escaped like Death Blossom. Number two, alternatively, and if you watched my Sombra video you'll think, this again, do you have an obsession? But hear me out, parry and perfect parry. Okay, look, the perfect parry idea from that Sombra video was actually originally something I thought of for Kiriko's Suzu, so it's fair I bring it up again. Anyway, the idea being, in order to get the invulnerability, you'd need to hit the Suzu within an initial much tighter window. For example, if you land Suzu on Reaper's ult within, say, so many of its startup frames, you get rewarded with the invulnerability. I'm using frames, I don't know how else to, describe it. Milliseconds, maybe, for the invulnerability aspect. But if you get your timing a little off, it's too late or too early, you don't get the invulnerability, but of course you still get the other effects of Suzu anyway. So there's still a possibility a person survives whatever the ult is. Naturally, this would affect some ults and abilities differently, and to stay consistent, it would be from when the ult or ability is going to hit the target with the damage or whatever effect it has, rather than when it's initially activated. And then standard weapon damage would be based on when the bullet or melee lands. If you make that aspect much more of a skill shot, you'd probably need to increase the length the invulnerability lasts for as a reward for the timing. Otherwise, it would feel like you've just made it twice as hard to use for less payoff. Because removing things you previously had access to does not feel good. So, essentially, Suzu would have two layers to its timing. One that's relatively easy to use and still very good and would probably be still one of the best abilities in the game. But also another that's more difficult but rewards you for getting it right. Problem solved, no more complaining about it, you're welcome. Now there are some questions you could ask, like, is it even possible to do this kind of thing in Overwatch? I have no idea. Is this too difficult? Does it not fit in with the level of execution the rest of the game's abilities ask of the player? Meaning, in context of Overwatch, it's asking too much compared with every other ability in the game. I don't think so, and I think this would be healthier for the game. Yeah? There's also the third secret option, which is to just slap a, 0.5 second delay on using Suzu after you have used Swift Step, and vice versa. Kinda also nerf Swift Step a little if you still think that's a problem. Anyway, that's my idea for changes to Suzu. I prefer making the invulnerability a skill shot rather than completely removing it. That's partially down to the fact that I don't think they'd ever remove it anyway. Plus, I like the idea of an ability having an extra layer of skill to it. Maybe that's adding too much for this game, I don't know, it might be too far gone for a change like that. Probably don't see this changing anytime soon. So, thanks for watching, let me know what you think, a subscription would be nice, a like and all that, and I'll see you around next time.